Hello guys. Good good afternoon today. Before we start, I need to 120. All right. Okay, good. Uh yeah, today we're going to continue from pointers. Um Yesterday um we did the flow control statement, the switch, default and else, um, which which is quite interesting actually. I made a few I made a few notes on it. Okay. I made a few notes on it, and I also explained like some of the things. Uh, I don't know why I keep getting like this. What's it called? Markdown. I want to get the. Alright, good. I don't want to get all this stuff. Alright, so yeah, yesterday we did the first statements. We did switch without the conditions, switch evaluation order. Uh, we did if with a short statement, which I actually do like. It was quite interesting. We did for loops, we did if statement. So yeah, that was yesterday. Today I plan to continue from pointers, and we go on from there. So before I start, I just want to say uh, I don't know much about Go. I'm new to Go. I'm just learning. I I come from a Java background. I could see similarities between Java and Go, but they're totally different language, I know. But I'm still a noob, not perfect, learning, and I'm not really. This is not really a tutorial. This is just me making a video, learning a language. So there are some things that I don't know. I have a very much high chance of making mistakes and some other things, right? So I just want you guys to know that, and I don't really know like why people would watch me, but I do watch people just randomly stream on YouTube, and they don't really say anything. It's just a way for me to put myself back in a productive mode and maybe have the stream running in the background while I do my stuff. And if you're the kind of person, then welcome. Uh, and if you're looking to learn, then maybe you could also learn alongside me by having your laptop open, having the document open also, and just learn alongside me. And if you just want to need the motivation, I want to say, well, let's study, right? The main reason why we're doing this is to learn, grow, have a better life, and uh, be someone, right? So let's all learn together. It's not easy today. I really don't have the strength to learn because I'm going through shit. But I'm here today because I promised myself I would do it, and I want you guys to know that too. If you want to do something, make sure you do it. It's not easy, but um, you can do it. So that's it. And the first 30 minutes to an hour, I might be taking a lot of breaks because I'm cooking something, and I might take breaks to go check on what I'm cooking and come back. So yeah, disclaimer. So yeah, let's start from pointers today, and we move on from there. Oh yeah, we need to play music. I want to check something real quick. If I okay, now we could access the value of p through the pointer, so we can access j. But what if we want to set a default value for j, so we don't have to use the if we want to set a new value for j, so we don't have to use the default value that we set. We should be able to do that. So we could do like we could access p. We could say p is equal to p, which is a value for j at that point, is equal to like 1000, right? And then we use the value p which we get to divide. So I think this should work. 27. It's quite confusing in a way. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we are right. So now it's not using these at all. Like none of them are. They're basically just using like they're just using like the value for this value. Like it's not using this value for the division. It's using 1000 for the division. So that's right. So we use this to access the value of a pointer, and we use this to point to the pointer. So if I could just say let's choose this one first. Okay. Nice. So I'm gonna take a quick break. I need to go check on the food I'm making, and catch you guys in a bit. Alright, I'm back. Is it my food again coming? Okay, I'm back. Um, Sorry it took so long. I'm gonna turn off my mic now because I need to eat. I don't want to be like munching on the stream. The stream and yeah. And I might also turn off my camera also because I don't want to be seen munching on the stream. So yeah. done eating now. Let's continue. I couldn't type while I eating. Uh, okay. Want to clean. My chair is a bit, I don't know, not really feeling like too comfortable, so I might take off. Let's see. I think this is it's good now. So we could access the value at the index and print the arbitrary. We could go anyway, and we could also say primes, and then we do equals to say with 10, and then we say like of int 10 integer, and then we have to assign the value to 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can do that. Then we print it out. Say primes access the value of 0, which would be 2, and then we could also access the value of, let's say, 4. Then if we want to, we could also do like fmt dot print, and we could just say primes, then this would give us like all the values that we need. Okay, so what's happening here is a slice is like a it's like an array, but it's not an array of a fixed size. It's a dynamically sized array. Just a slice array. which is made up of two indices. Indices, a low and a high bound. High bound separated by a colon. So just by looking at the explanation, we say a slice is an array. So that would be like we just say slice array. I just want to like try and see if I could draw out what a slice would look like just by the definition. So a slice is an array. So a slice is an array made up of two indices. So if an array is made up of two indices, it would be there we could say 1 and 2, right? That's what you would think, but then it says a high and a lower bound, so more like a range. So we could say 1 to, let's say, 5, and it's separated by a colon. So instead of a comma, we have a colon. So this is a slice. Interesting. So we just say a goes to low I. That's what a slice is, and a slice select a half open range. Which include the first element but exclude the last element. Okay, this is quite confusing. So if it includes the first element, does it start at the index of 0 or at the index of 1? Like for example, in this case I added 1 to 5, so is it going to start at the index of 0 as 1, or I don't know. Just let's see. Let's see with an example. So we have a function, main function, that takes in a prime array, say prime number of size 6, and it's a int, and it contains 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and 13. Now we create we define a variable as a new array, a new slice. I'll call it slice. It's a slice array of integer primes. So the slice array takes in primes, but the value of the index 1 to 4. So in this case, I'm thinking it would take in like 2, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 5. But it's not. If you look at it, print ln takes in s. Like if you look at it in there, we have an array of size 6 that starts at the index of 0, index of 1, index of 2, index of 3, index of 4, index of 5. And then we have a new slice that takes in the prime numbers but start at the index of 1 to the index of 3. So in this case, it starts at 3. But if we had the 0 in here, so it would start at the index of 0, 1, 2, so it'd be 2, 3, 5. If we try that, we have to. Okay, that's oh sorry, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3. Because we start at the index of 0. If we change this to 3, that would be 2, 3, 5. Slice are like reference to array. A slice does not store any data, it just describes a section of the underlying array. Slice are like reference to arrays. They don't store any data, but they describe. Should I use describe or select a section of an underlying array? Changing the elements of a slice modifies the elements relating or corresponding elements of its underlying arrays. And if other slice also share the underlying array, they will also be affected by the changes. So let's see if we try to so we have a name array that takes in John, Paul, George, and Ringo, and then we print out the names, which means we're gonna get the names. And then now we have a variable a that is supposed to be assigned the names. Variable a attached to a slice that gets the name that starts at the index of 0 to 2. So in this case, we're going to get John, Paul, and John and Paul. And B gets 1, which is Paul, George. Yeah, it gets Paul and George. Now we print out A and B, which would be John and Paul, Paul and George. Okay, okay, let's see. Zero, 1, 2. So the first one, which is A, prints out John and Paul, right? and the second, which is B, we print out Paul and George. So the reason why I'm a bit confused is like, why do we have Ringo in there? Because it says that a slice has a range, right? And in this case we have 0, 1, 2, 3. So if we start from 0 in here, it's gonna get John, and it's gonna get 0, 1, it's gonna get Paul. It's not gonna get to 2 because it doesn't reach 2, right? And then if we then try to get index of 1, which in this case is Paul, without Paul again, and 2 would have George, but then I assume we should not get to 3 in this case, right? So I'm a bit confused with that, but um, let's yeah, because in this case, oh yeah, sorry, my bad, I didn't see this. So this gets us everything, and this one just gets us John and Paul, Paul and George, which is just this. And now we have a new array of, not a new array, but we then try to get the index of 0. I try to assign a value to um, the index of 0 on the B side. So now the B side would be xxx and the index of 0. So it would be more like, where is B? So this is, um, so this is B. B in this case is Paul and George. Paul and George. And if we change the value of Paul, because obviously we change the value of Paul to xxx, then that would affect the underlying array. The underlying array in this case is the underlying array, so then Paul will get changed in both sides of A and B since the underlying array um, has been changed. It's quite interesting. Okay, let's do this. Let's write ours. Let's say cars. Don't know much about cars, but let's say cars. We just say 2. Now we say string. Okay, now if we put in the first car to be Ferrari, and we put in the second car to be Toyota. Okay, what can we do now? We want to print out the cars. Let's just do cars. Was it? What am I doing wrong? Okay, yeah. So now we want to print out the cars. So let's try to, you could say car 1. Let's try to say car 1 equals to cars. You could say access the index of 0 to 1. So this would give us just one car. Say car 2 equals to cars access from. Okay, maybe we should have made it like, let's do this. Let's do 3. Let's add one more car in here. Let's say P guts. Nice. So 0 to 1 and 1 to 2. Now if you try to print out cars car 1 and car 2, did I make a mistake somewhere? Alright, now we have the 3 cars that we've got, and now we print out car 1, which would be just Ferrari in this case, because we're going from 0, 1. Well, no, 0, 1. So it would be Ferrari and Toyota, but we would not be able to get P-Jets because we're not accessing that, right? 0, 1, 2. Okay, so this is not. This would be like 1 to 2. This would be 0, 1, which would be Ferrari and Toyota, and this would be just Toyota, right? So when we run that again, we've got the 3 cars, and we've got Ferrari, and Toyota, and then we've got just Toyota. So okay, maybe I may be still like confused, but let's do this. I wanna see something. Oh, come on. Not that one. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry, it's my bad. I remember now. So this is what we're looking at, right? 0, 1. We're just gonna get a Ferrari because we are not going to we're not going to get to 1 because it just lies, and then in this case we're accessing just the value of 1. We're not gonna get to 2 because it just lies. So we're just gonna have Ferrari, and we're gonna have Toyota. So we have Ferrari, Toyota. So what I want to do now is I want to change the value of so if I say like from car 2, from the value of car 2, I want to get the index of 0, which would be Toyota at that point, and I want to change it to YYY. Then I want to print want to print car 1 and car 2 again. And let's see. Alright, so we have Toyota in here, but we replace the value for Toyota with YYY. So this would in turn change the underlying array in the memory. So how do we know that? Well, if we print out car 1, if we print out what's the name, cars, now you'll see that this is it, cars before got everything right. Right now the new car would not have Toyota. Now you see we have Ferrari. Now Toyota becomes YYY because we already changed Toyota in here, which changes the main underlying array. Now we have Ferrari, YYY, and Peugeot. Interesting stuff. I wrote it. Let's just don't have to type it out again. Right, so we've got cars. We print out the value of cars, and now we use slice to access the value of. So now we this would be Ferrari, and this would be Toyota. Right. interesting. Let's get this because we need to see what is that. Okay, I need to check my food. looks like we're back again. Oh, they've been used. What would I say if I was to like find similarities between the Nix language and the Go language? Struct would be like a um I don't want to say like attribute set, but because attribute set takes in just like one. Well, I would say attribute set maybe. When we print this out, we would get the values of the slice. And I think it could be of any size, but yeah, it could be of any size. It's not size specified. It doesn't have a length. It could be of any length. But the reason why we have the same length for the Q and the same length for the R is mainly because we want to pass them into a struct, and we need the struct to like be assigned a value. We need the integer value in the struct to be assigned to a boolean value. So it's like a key and a value, something like that, but it's not really a key and a value, it's just a value to value. So we have 6 elements in the array or in the slice Q, and we also need to have 6 elements in the slice R. Let's just do true again, perfecto, and we print it out. Now if you look at this, we have a struct which would be int and bool, and then we assign a value to the struct to becomes true, and okay, I think what we did is we created a new slice literal for the struct. So it's not really getting any value from the above Q and R. It's just assigning its own value to it. So yeah, it makes sense now, because we could do like say like 6 and say false again, and we say like 12 and we say it true, and we could do this, and then we would print new line for S. This is quite interesting, and say do this, I'll put this to like 9, send this to like 4, and print. Yeah, slice default. Slice default. Okay, let's see. When slicing, you may omit the high and low bound to use the default instead. Got a 0 for the low bound and the length of the slice for the high bound. For an array of size 10, this stack expression are equivalent. 0 to 10 starts at 0, finish at 9. Default is 0, so it's the same thing. Start at 0. Default is the length, so it always finishes at 9. Interesting. Okay, so what this is trying to say is, remember we had the slice like in here. Let's use this as an example. We had like 3 elements in the array cars. We have Ferrari, Toyota, and Peugeot, right? In case of slice default, you see we created a slice for car 1, which takes in the element at the index of 0 to the index of 1, but we all know that slice doesn't like take in the last element assigned, so it would not actually do like 0. It would not take in Toyota. It would just stop at the element before the last index. So we have Ferrari in this case. But what slice default is trying to say is, we have a low bound and we have a high bound, right? The default for the low bound is always 0, regardless, and the default for the high bound is always the length of the slice. So in this case, we have a slice of length 1, right? Of length 2, I mean 0 and 1, so it's 2. In this case, the default would be 0, and the default for the low bound would be 0, the default for the high bound would be 1. So this is correct, but we also get the same answer if we write it this way. If we do car1 equals to cars, and we say this. So if we do it this way, we don't get the same answer because the default is the length of the slice. But I'm talking about this in this case. It would be the same, and we could also do like car1 equals to, we could say cars. We could say like 0 to, since the default is a length, it's still the same, and like that. So that's what the default is trying to say. But let me see if we let's write it out first. Defaults. When slicing an array, we can omit the I and the low bounds in order to use the default instead. To use the default. The default for a low bound is 0, and the default for the high bound is length of the slice. In this case, if we have an array of size 10 and we want to slice using the default, just say code block, say go and say var what the array to be sliced. Oh, that sounds so cool. Array to be sliced is 10, and yeah, is of size 10. So if we have an array of size 10, size 10 as the above, because it's size 10, the default lower bound will be 0, and higher bound will be the size length of the array, or length of the slice. So we could say go say array to be sliced. So 0, 10. So this slice is the same as the following slice. We could say array to be sliced. We could say 0 to nothing, which is also the same because it always default back to the length. Array to be sliced equals to an empty one, which always starts at 0 regardless, and let's say array to be sliced equals to empty 10. So all of these are the same. Now let's play with the slice. We get 1 to 4, so we get 3, 5, and 7. And in this case, we get from 5 to 13, no, 5 to 11, 0, 1, 2, 5 to 11. And in this case, we get from 3, in this case, we get, let me try and write down what we get. So in this case, we get 3, 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, and in this case we get 2, we get 3. In this case we get 2 and 3, and in this case we get 3, 5, 7, 11. Oh, okay. I'm wrong. I'm right. The first one we get 3, 5, 7. The other one starts at 3. I think the main reason why I don't really believe this is, oh, okay, so there's 2 things there, right? What I was thinking was, since we already created the first slice, right? Um, it would the second slice would get the element from what's the name again? It's called the corresponding. No, not corresponding. I forgot. Is it literal? The literal array? No. Well, in simple terms, what I'm trying to say is, I thought like once I want to get this, it's gonna check for this again, and if I want to get this, it's gonna check for this again. But that's not the case, right? It's checking the previous slice for the result of the new slice, right? So in this case, a slice starts from 1 and then goes to 3, goes to 7. And in this case, the slice starts at the index of 0, but the index of 0 uh, of this slice would be 3. So it was supposed to be 3 to it's supposed to be 3, which is 0 to 1, which would be 5, like 3, 5. So this is supposed to be 3, 5. And now for this one, the slice would start at the index of 1, which in this case the index of 1 for 3 and 5, which is the slice before the slice, is 5. Since this is 0, this is 1. So in this case we're not doing this, so it's just gonna be 5. So I assume I'm wrong in the first one, and I understand. Once you creating a slice from a slice, it's not going back to the actual slice, it's taking the slice from the previously created slice. Interesting. I'm gonna get this. What's going on? Okay. Slice length and capacity. The slice has both a length and a capacity. Oh, okay. The capacity of a slice is the number of the element in the underlying array, counting from the first element in the slice. The length and capacity of a slice S can be obtained using the expression length S caps S. You can extend the slice length by resizing it, providing it has sufficient capacity. Try changing one of the slice operation example program to extend it beyond the capacity and see what happens. Okay. So this is what I think this is saying is basically what this is saying, alright? What I found out, right? So it says that the length of a slice is the number of elements it contains, right? So in this case, length of the slice is 3, length of the slice is 2, and the slice is 5. The capacity of the slice is the number of elements in the underlying array, counting from the first element in the slice. So the capacity is the number of elements in the underlying array. So my mistake. So this is the length of the slice. If we go back, length is 3, length is 2, length is 1. But then the capacity of the slice is basically the number of elements in the underlying array, which is the initial one that we have, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 capacity, and then we've got length. The length and capacity of a slice S can be obtained using the expression. If we want to get the length, we have to do length S. If we want to get the capacity, we have to do cap S. So in this case, we have a slice. Now we have an array of size 6, and slice the slice to give it 0 length. So in this case, this prints out nothing, because in this case the higher bound is 0. If the higher bound is 0, then we get nothing, right? Because the higher bound is meant to be by default, the higher bound is meant to be the total of the length. So in this case, we already create a first slice with a capacity of 0. So in this case, the capacity would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 capacity. But now what we did is we reduced the capacity. So now we reduce the capacity to 0. So now we have no capacity, right? So this would print out no capacity. And now we want to extend the length of the slice. So in this case, we say slice S equals to slice S, and then we assign 4 to the higher bound. So in this case, the capacity was 0, but now the capacity is being increased to 4. So you can just say decrease capacity to 0, increase capacity to 4, capacity to 4. And let's keep in mind that the total number of the capacity is the total length of the underlying array. So we could make this 6, but it cannot be more than 6, but in this case it's 4. And now we drop its first two elements. So now from the slice with increased capacity, we are going to have the value of 2, 3, 5, literally 5. But now from this capacity, we want to drop 2 of its first, like it want to drop its first 2 value, which would be 2. So in this case, 0, 1. Okay, this is very confusing. Well, if we drop the first 2 value and the first 2 value lower bound is starting at 2, that would be 0, 1, 0, 1, 2. Then we're not really dropping. What do I think the result of this would be? If you drop the first 2 value, like we start at 0, 1, 2, 2. Let's see, I'm not too sure anymore. Alright, so this is the first one. The second one, we have an empty array. Yes, I'm right. And in this case, we had 2, 3, 5, 7. 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh yes, sorry. 7. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 doesn't get included. And now in this case, oh, okay, now I get it. I think I got confused with this. So if we drop the first 2 value, it'd be 0, 1, 2. So since we're starting at 2, it would be 5 to 7. So in this case, we would have 5 and 7. We dropped um, 2 and 3. Let's see capacity T. I want to see some decimal integer. Interesting. Yes, the capacity did not change. Uh, 6. Increase the lens to 4, but the capacity remains 6. So lens 4 cap equals to 6. In this case, the okay. I think I have a bad network, so I might yeah. So we're gonna do this, and then we'll call it a day, and tomorrow we'll continue. I think we all know what new means. So the zero value of this light is called new. Just hit new is called the zero value of a slice. we have an empty array. So basically, an empty array is a new slice. Um, I want to try something. Oh, well, I thought that would work. Okay. Alright, guys, so that's it for today. I really want to keep going, but I'm kind of like tired, and I feel like if I do, I would not really like take understand as much. I don't want to try and just like rush it and just I want to like understand and not rush through it. So most of what we did today uh, was relating to slice mainly. Like, we did some of um, let's check. Yeah, we did the struct, right? We did pointers, so we start from pointers today. So we did pointers. We uh, make use of the operators. The hand operator is used to point to a pointer, and the star operator uh, is used to like change the value of the pointer, right? But if you want to access the pointer, we use the and symbol like this. We use this symbol to access the value of a pointer, and we use this symbol to change the value of that pointer. And then we did struct. Struct is like a data collection field that is used to group kind of like data together. We have the struct field, which is the struct field. We can also access the values uh, in the struct field by using the dot operators. Like if we do like a v dot x, we'll be able to access the value x in the struct, right? Then we did array. Array in Go is just like every normal array, is of a fixed size. Um, it's yeah, it's of a fixed size, and it is not resizable. But Go has a much like better way of handling arrays, and in this case we have an array of size 2, and we are assigning the value LO to the index of 0 and the value world to the index of 1. So when we print this out, we get LO world, and in this case we create an array of size 10 with the values, and we print out the value at the index of 0 and the value at the index of 4. Now we have something called slice. Slice is like a dynamic sized array. It's basically made up of two indices, a low and high bound, and is also separated by a colon. In this case, we have a slice with a lower bound of 1 and a higher bound of 5. So one thing about slice is slice selects just half range, which include the first element but exclude the last element. So in this case, if we have a slice of size 10 and we assign the lower bound to be 1, that would be 4, and the higher bound to be 10. So in this case, lower bound would be in this case the lower bound would be 4 and the higher bound would be 20. But slice would not get the value of 20. It would stop like the element at the last element before 20, so it's gonna stop at 18. If that makes sense. And what else did we do? Yeah, slices are like a reference to an array. So slices are not actually like we're not actually creating a new array when we use a slice. We're basically like copying the element of that array and putting it in another array. So when you make changes to an element in a slice, you are also making changes to the element, the underlying array, right? So in this case, we have an array of 3 elements, Ferrari, Toyota, and period, and we create a slice 1, slice 2 from this array. And when we change the element in the slice at the index of 0 to y, this change the element at the index of 0 in the slice, and also change the element in the underlying array. So we have to be very careful of that. And then we have slice literal. So slice literal is just like an array without a length. So this is an array with a length, and this is an array without a length. So you could assign like any value to an array without a length. The length would basically be the size of the value assigned to it. And in this case, we have two arrays, literal, these of length 6 and these of length 6. And that's what it is. If you remove an element from this, we're gonna have an element of size 5. So the number of element in the array is the length of the array. And then we have a slice default. So slice default is basically just like an array. As we all know, a slice is a lower bound and a higher bound. So what slice default means is that the lower bound has a default value of 0 and the higher bound has a default value of the length of the length of the underlying array, or length of the slice in general. So if you have a slice of size 10, it's like an example here. We have a slice of size 10, and the lower bound is 0, the higher bound is 10. This is also the same thing as this. In this case, this is the same slice, but we, instead of assigning the value 10 to the higher bound, we left it empty because we know the higher bound by default is basically the size of the length of the underlying array. So it would always be 10, even though we don't assign 10 to it because the size is 10, the general size is 10, and the default size is 0, but we assign 0 to it. And it is also the same as this. As you can see, we only have a semicolon in here, but what this is trying to say is the default value of the lower bound is 0, so we don't need to assign 0 to it because it already is 0, and the higher bound is 10, so it already is 10. So it's the same as this, it's just that we're not like putting the value in there. And it's also the same as this. So all of this are the same thing. There's no difference if you really look at it. If you just keep in mind that the default value of a slice is lower bound and higher bound is size 0 and length of the array. And what else did we do? Yeah, finally we did, not finally, but before that we did the length and the capacity. So basically the length of a slice is the number of elements that it contains, right? So if you have a slice, for example, if you have a slice of size 4, if you have a slice with 4 elements, that means the length of the slice is 4. But the capacity of a slice is the total number of, no, the capacity of a slice is, I want to remember that. The capacity of a slice is the total number of like element in the underlying array, right? So the capacity is basically based on the underlying array, if that makes sense. Let me give an example. Yeah, if I can. So in this case, we have a slice. We have an array of size 1, 2, 3, of size 6, and we have a slice. So this slice has a lower bound of 0 and a higher bound of 4. In this case, a lower bound of 0 would means it would get the value of 2 as the first element in the slice, and the higher bound of 4 means that it would go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, but it would not get to 4. So the elements that would be in the new slice would be 2, 3, 5, and 7. So in this case, the total length of this slice would be 4, but the capacity would remain 6 because the initial because the underlying array has a capacity of 6. We can increase the capacity and decrease the capacity of the underlying array as we see fit, and we can also increase the capacity of a slice and decrease the capacity of a slice. And finally, we did something called the neo slice. So the neo slice is what I call an empty array. If you have an array with no element, that means the array have no length and no capacity. In that case, it is called a neo slice. And as you can see in the code below, we have an empty array of an empty integer array, and we're printing the value of the empty array, and we're getting the length and we're getting the capacity. In this case, we're gonna get the length of 0 and the capacity of 0 because the array is empty. And since the array is a new array, we could do if s, which is this, if s, which is the empty array, is equals to new, because yes it is, print out the new is an empty array, and that's what we get. So that's all I did today, and thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. See you guys tomorrow. Happy learning.